And we should be live. Okay, so we'll wait for people to get in here, and then we'll start off with the takeaways over the weekend.
For sure.
We should start getting people flying in.
Yeah. I mean, it's also 4 p.m. on a Monday.
Fair.
So who the heck knows?
Heck, we could start it off if people miss the first portion of the video. Then
yeah. It's all right. So what's going on, guys? Fantasy Stock Exchange. I'll do Danny's intro. Fuck it. So what you guys know us now the past couple of weeks, we do our week 13 recap, our week 13 takeaways, some of the biggest things that happened over the weekend in football, as well as get to any of your kind of questions you have before Monday Night Football. Obviously, this week is kind of a special week, as is a couple of the weeks this season, that we have a 5:00 Monday game. So we're going live a bit earlier than usual.
For sure. And in the majority of leagues, this is like the playoff clinching week as well. So the fact that we have 2 games on Monday and a Tuesday game.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Some miracles.
Yeah, like I'm up 28 right now, and I have the Steelers defense, and the guy I'm going against actually has Eric Ebron and CD Lamb. So like I think I should win, because if I win, I secure my playoff spot. But if I lose, like I'm gonna be so upset. Because Travis Kelce put up 24 points for him yesterday in half PPR. Like, it's silly. First, actually, you know what? Let's start off with the recap with
Actually, one thing that we don't have on our list that I want to talk about first is...
Okay, go ahead.
Shout out to Greg Williams. Anyone who's the New York Jets fan needs to donate. I doubt Greg Williams has a foundation, because he's a horrible human. But if he has like a foundation or something, the Jets should start donating to it, because literally he gave them the gift of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
I don't know how the tiebreakers would have worked or whatever, but there's a chance the Jags could have ended up with Trevor Lawrence and not the Jets.
If the Jets came out with that win and both teams lost out, the Jags would have had the number 1 pick because of strength of schedule.
Yeah,
they have a worse strength of schedule. Basically how it works, right? In terms of playoff seeding and stuff like that, it comes down to like common record, divisional record, all that sort of jabber, right? When it's coming to draft picks, it's basically, oh, you guys have the same record. I don't care if this team beat you in the regular season.
They beat the Colts though, the Jags.
Yeah, week 1 they've lost every game since.
I know, but aren't the Raiders and Colts like similar in terms of strength of schedule?
Yeah, but like overall strength of schedule.
Okay.
I think the Jets' strength schedule is like 0.3 higher. But basically how it goes, right? Even if a team, like say the Jets beat the Jags this year and they ended up with the same record, if the Jets still had a worse strength of schedule, they would get the number 1 pick, even though they beat them in a straight up. So the way the tanking works in the NFL is pretty crazy, because you could beat a team and still finish up with a higher pick with them at the same record. It's pretty wild.
That's true.
But
I have to take my victory lap.
Go for
it. Henry Ruggs looked like he was going to screw me over, and a lot of people that I told to start him, but man, he came alive. You love to see that. He got that touchdown, gave him some rug burns, I like to call that. Yeah, that was just great to see. Speaking of rookies too, it's Wham Bam Cam season now.
Yeah.
Cam Akers, man.
Don't remind me.
So the thing with Cam Akers, I tweeted all this. I'll go over this real quick, because Cam Akers, a lot of people are like, oh, but can we trust Sean McVay? He's kind of been using a committee all season. I'm not saying you should outright trust Sean McVay, but this is the best we've seen thus far. So what Cam Akers did this past week was 22 touches, was the most by a Rams running back all season. And keep in mind, they had Henderson out for a couple of weeks and Malcolm Brown out for a couple of weeks. So you'd think in those weeks they'd have a guy who was a high touch running back. No, Cam Akers, most touches by a running back all season. Same goes for his snap count, 63% of the snaps. Most by a Rams running back all season. I think it's officially Cam Akers season. Malcolm Brown played a season low 16% of the snaps. He recorded 4 touches, which is also a season low. Darrell Henderson, he left this game early and came back. So this is a little skewed, I guess, but he played 22% of the snaps, which as far as it was also a season low, because he left the Dallas game and the Miami game early and didn't return in those games. So as far as I'm concerned, Cam Akers is the lead back in this offense. What does that mean exactly? Could he come out next week and get 40% of the snaps and only 10 touches? I mean, it's possible, but what we saw out of Cam Akers is as encouraging a sign as you can see.
Yeah, it just so happens that I held him for the first 12 weeks of the season. Week 13, I needed a defense to stream because I wasn't sure if the Steelers defense was going to play, because I was going into the Baltimore versus Steelers game, right?
Yep.
I had to drop Cam Akers. He goes out 9 for 84 and a touchdown, gets picked up by a guy on waivers. I had no fab left. I couldn't even rebid on him. And then now the guy that has him isn't even in the playoffs. So at least that's a good thing for me. But I held on to him for 12 weeks. 12 weeks. And the week I drop him, he just takes over the backfield. Like, it's just, that's fantasy football for you. That's what happens. But anyways, at least that kind of got replaced by the guy I'm going to mention now, and that's going to be Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that guy came back off the COVID list, led the backfield in touches, 16 touches in this game, had over a 50% opportunity share in terms of the carries out of the backfield. I did not expect them to just lean on him as heavy. Not to mention, I mean, this is a stat that was tweeted out by Ian Harditz, but in the first 10 weeks of the season, he broke 9 total tackles. He's broken 8 in his last 2 healthy games.
Which is wild, because back when I was tweeting out that stat where I was talking about elusiveness and yards per route run and yards after contact all combined into one stat, Jonathan Taylor was like dead last or like second to last behind like Mark Ingram in that stat. So he was, not only was he not getting the volume, he also wasn't good when he got it. But now we're seeing he broke like 5 runs of 10 plus yards or something like that, or 5 plays, of 10 plus yards in the game. And he had a 39-yard receiving touchdown or whatever. Like, that is the Jonathan Taylor that we saw at Wisconsin, and you definitely love to see that.
And it's
Speaking
exciting.
of rookies, too, man, J.K. Dobbins better put a wall up on the Cowboys. Like, that is what I am waiting for.
I hope so.
Dobbins to absolutely slaughter the Cowboys like Antonio Gibson did last week.
And for the record, if you guys have been holding on to Jonathan Taylor all season, his next 2 weeks, so obviously, like, you're looking for potential playoff league type winners. His next 2 weeks are going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, who are the 3rd worst team against opposing running backs in fantasy football, and then the Houston Texans, who are the 2nd worst. So obviously, the championship game against Pittsburgh is not ideal, but he should at least get you to your championship. And if you could say anything about Jonathan Taylor all year, that he ended up getting you to your championship game, like, that's pretty wild. Not to mention, on the flip side, I mean, David Montgomery looks like another league winner, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, why is David Montgomery suddenly good at football?
Dude,
maybe it's just the matchups. Like, it could very well be because he's played some like bad defenses, but I mean, it's not like it's going to change anytime soon. He has more bad defenses coming up.
Yeah, no, the thing about Montgomery last year is that he always had a safe floor because of the touches. You knew he was going to get a bunch of touches. That's why you could trust him as an RB2 in your lineup. But he's shown like decent upside these last few weeks. I know the matchups are cake, but like that same Packers defense that he torched absolutely denied Miles Sanders this weekend. So, I mean, if this is a David Montgomery we're growing accustomed to, this guy's going to be a top 12 or so back for the rest of the season. Like,
yeah, and I still think he's like, if he was playing the Bears, like I guess he's on the Bears. If he was playing the Colts, like, I don't think he has a game like that. I think this is mainly due because of the matchup, but that you could say that for like most running backs. So I'm not going to ding him too hard for doing well in a good matchup, because that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing if you're David Montgomery. But yeah, I agree. I think if you have him, if he's likely not your RB1 or RB2 if you're in the playoff kind of picture right now. He's probably your RB3. Maybe you bought low on him after he was really down earlier in the season. I know for the guy in my league who has him, he has Josh Jacobs and Chris Carson as his other 2 running backs. So Montgomery's actually is like his RB3. So
to be honest,
it's
Montgomery or Jacobs rest of the season.
I mean, given Jacobs' his health right now, I would go with Montgomery. But if Jacobs is healthy for the rest of the season, I'll take Jacobs. So
that's fair. I mean, take into the quote unquote hardest team Montgomery has left on his schedule is at league average against opposing running backs, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. The other 2 matchups, Houston and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So
wheels up.
Wheels up.
All right, so this kind of goes hand in hand with one of our takeaways as well. But do you remember Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Like, holy crap! Okay, so hopefully for you guys that have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you did what I did. I told you on the Sunday morning live stream to have a pivot option in case Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't play. I think it was during the 1:00 games. There was like a sleeper alert, and if you don't have sleeper, you should download it because you get alerts, like fantasy football related alerts. But there was a sleeper alert that came by that said like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to play a limited role or be like an emergency back or something. I can't remember exactly what it said. I might try and look at it right now.
I wish I had seen that because
it was enough to know that I'm not playing Clyde. Like I made the decision before even the 4:00 game started that I swapped out in my flex spot Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Brandon Ayuk tonight. So I'm not messing around if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is an emergency back. Oh, no, you know what the alert was? It was Le'Veon Bell to get, quote unquote, most of the work. That's what it was.
Damn. So well, he definitely got most of the work because he got
most of the work, but he sucks, so it doesn't matter.
I know. It was just funny because
the thing with Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, am I going to be worried about him next week? No, because he had a stomach illness and he was out. He has a bad matchup next week against is it New Orleans that they play?
I believe
no, that's week 15. That's week 15. I can't remember who they play next week, but either way, Clyde is going to be in that RB2 range where he's kind of been the RB 16 to 24 type range, because that's where he kind of belongs right now. But I'm not downgrading him tremendously based on this performance. It sucked if you had to play him. Maybe you didn't have a pivot option or whatever, but that's I don't know what to tell you. I probably would have planned in advance to have a pivot option, because that's what I did, because there was a chance he didn't play at all. So that's why I had the pivot option ready.
Also, I'm going to say this right now for the record, same game, man. If you guys have a league where you have Travis Kelce and you're not a top 3 seed in your playoffs, I'm going to be heavily shocked, because the competitive advantage he gives you at the tight end position compared to anybody else. Like, for example, Darren Waller is fantastic too. We all know this at this point. He's probably the number 2 with George Kittle out, right? Travis Kelce has 48 more half PPR points than Darren Waller. And then Darren Waller has 47 more half PPR points than any other tight end. So basically what that means is Travis Kelce has almost 100 more points than the tight end 3 on the season.
Yep.
That's absurd.
Is Hawkinson the tight end 3?
I believe so. Kelce is 3rd in the league in receiving yards right now as a tight end and has 8 touchdowns. This may end up being, 2011 Gronk is going to have a huge...
If Kelce did this over 16 games, it would be an incredible season.
Oh, no, I know. But I'm saying...
What does he have, 1,100 yards?
1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Basically, what I'm saying is that this could end up either being the best tight end season of all time or the second best behind the 2011 Gronk, when I think he had 1,300 yards and 17 touchdowns. But if Kelce stays healthy and plays a full 16, he's going to end up with 1,400, 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah,
which is absurd.
Ridiculous. Which is absolutely absurd from your tight end slot. That's like prime Antonio Brown numbers.
That's wide receiver 2 last year type numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Man, all right, let's rip through some of these questions, and then we'll get into the rest of the takeaways we have here.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah, Jorge, it's really unfortunate. I would say going into something like that, maybe I'm not exactly sure how experienced you are as a fantasy player, but being that I'm an experienced fantasy player, I was like, I'm not screwing around with, when I heard Clyde Edwards-Helaire was sick and was questionable, I was like, okay, so I'm going to have a backup plan in case last minute Clyde is ruled out of the game. So I had Ayuk as my backup plan for in my flex spots, and also make sure he's in your flex spots, not your RB2 slot or whatever. That's just a rule of general practice if you have a guy going on a primetime game.
For sure. Yeah. Talking about it, Justin Jefferson popped off again.
Holy crap, dude! He got 1,000 yards already.
Yeah, 9 for 121 and a touchdown yesterday.
Dumb.
The fact that him and Thielen are both top 14, 15 receivers any given week, it's pretty insane.
You don't have the offense.
Yeah, I know. How is that a thing? They're literally the 2 outlets in the receiving game, and that's it. We want to give Irv Smith his praise.
Where's Jefferson going drafts next year?
Probably.
I think wherever it is, it's too low. Honestly,
where I think he's
he
going to get
be
valued,
the wide receiver 1 in fantasy next year.
I think where he's going to get valued is probably going to be just above where Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf were this year, probably early 4th. I think he's going to end up in that mid to early 3rd type range.
I would pick him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I think he's worth that pick.
Not in the early part of the 2nd round where you got good running backs and stuff. But if you're at the back of the 2nd round choosing between a tight end like Kittle and him, I would probably pick Jefferson.
I'd take Kelce though.
Kelce, I don't think Kelce's going that late. I think Kelce will go back end of the 1st or early 2nd round like he did this year.
Kittle simply because of the injury concerns, man. If we knew that Kittle was giving you even 14 games, he's going to be a top 15 pick.
Yeah, for sure.
With him.
All right, let's rip through some more of these here. We got Bills or San Fran defense tonight. I will go with San Fran's defense just because
he should be good. By the way,
what
he said, as long as Gibson doesn't put up 26, he should be good. So I think he should be fine.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't see the rest of your question.
Yeah, you're good. By the way, I'll take Bills against a backup quarterback.
I'll take San Fran against. They're at home in this game. I'm pretty sure, are they not?
No, they're on neutral game field, because San Fran's playing in Arizona.
I guess because San Fran can't play in.
By the way, San Fran is favored by 1.5. Like, what are we doing here?
That's kind of surprising. I thought the Bills would have been favored in this game.
I took Bills money line, and it was a free $20 play-in bet. So I took Bills money line, got an extra $20 added on top. So my $25 Bills bet is ending up paying like $56.
That's pretty wild. I didn't expect the Bills to be favored in this game. I built a DFS lineup for the 2 games tonight for the Steelers and this game. Yeah. And I have Nick Mullins as my quarterback because I actually do think the Niners win this game.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to. The Niners are favored about 1.5.
They have a formidable offense now. Their defense has always been very disciplined and well coached and all that kind of stuff. Their offense has their guys back. Other than Kittle, they have Deebo Samuel back. They have Brandon Ayuk back. They have Raheem Mostert back.
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins is not really that much different from Jimmy Garoppolo.
I still think it's pretty disrespectful. You have an 8-3 team who's been playing like one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the AFC, playing on a neutral game site to a 5-6 team without their starting quarterback and are 1.5 point underdogs. I still
think the Niners win.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully not for my sake, because I have $25 on this line. Yeah.
Shout out to Ruggs, man. He saved me. I had my money where my mouth was. I had him in a couple leagues, and he really helped me out.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Landry starts going off feels bad. Croc him on.
Yeah.
Hope AJ Brown bounces back after my bye.
So here's the thing with AJ Brown, man. That really sucks because I might lose in my home league. I probably am gonna lose, to be honest.
That fumble, right?
Yeah, the fumble. He fumbles at like the 1-yard line. He gets stripped, and Michael Pruitt or whatever his name was falls on the ball in the end zone. If AJ Brown gets in on that play, he has a 20-point game or a 22-point game instead of the 9 points that he put up.
And even if you're still not really mad at 4 for 90. I think that's
no, it's not a terrible. He lost a fumble as well, but
well, does that count as a lost fumble? Because
for my league, it does.
Wow, because his teammate recovered it. That's pretty.
Yeah, or no. Didn't he fumble? No, he fumbled twice, dude. I'm pretty sure he fumbled twice.
Did he fumble twice again
in that game? Yeah, he fumbled early in the 3rd quarter, and they recovered it. I'm pretty sure, and then he fumbled that play, and his teammate recovered it. So, I think AJ Brown, as far as the ankle injury or the Achilles injury, it looked bad when it happened. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he tore his Achilles. I was like, oh god, that's not good for someone like for me who's like he's one of the bright spots on my team, right? Like he's like one of my stars,
one of the superstars.
Yeah, one of my superstars. Him going down, I was like, oh god, because he has a great schedule the rest of the season, right? Him and Tannehill. Their schedule was really hard for a couple of weeks with the Bears and the Colts twice and the Steelers and that kind of stuff. So his schedule, he's going to win some people some leagues if someone maybe bought low on him right at the deadline or whatever. So I was really upset when I saw him go down, but I think he's going to be fine. He probably should be good to go this week.
By the way, we don't really have this takeaway listed, but I just kind of wanted to acknowledge it, man. If you were watching the Texans-Colts game, that was like the highest scoring first half of the year, and then 2 points total scored in the second half. I don't know what happened to the pace of play, but
man, the Browns game too. The Browns game was so high scoring in the first half.
I'm pretty sure Deshaun had like 20 at half and finished with 19.
Yeah, it was weird.
But mentioning that game real quick. I mean, Kiki Kuti, 9 targets turned into 8 for 141. Like,
yeah,
we mentioned that we didn't think he was good enough to be a thing, but
he took over Will Fuller's role.
Yeah, he literally did. And not to mention, we did see, as we kind of expected, that Duke Johnson was getting a little bit of receiving work as kind of like that tertiary option after, obviously, Brandon Cooks and Kiki Kuti. For the record, I think Brandon Cooks, starting next week and on, is going to be a top 15 type receiver.
That's okay. The amount of volume what happened with Brandon Cooks during that game was they thought he had a concussion, right? And we had Edwin Porras on before the season talking about Brandon Cooks' concussion history.
Yeah.
And I watched Dr. Jesse Morris when it happened. He put out a video saying like Brandon Cooks might have a concussion, and he was like super concerned. He's like, this guy's career might be done, right?
Yeah.
Because of the amount of concussions that Brandon Cooks has had in his career. It's very good news that he came back in that game, which means he obviously did not have a concussion because NFL rules, you can't come back into the game without clearance from a doctor that you have a concussion, especially for someone like Brandon Cooks with a concussion history. They would not have put him back in that game if he had a concussion. So that is good news. And I agree. If he is back and he is good to go and he's not hampered by any means by injury, he is a top 12 receiver the rest of the season.
100%. I fully agree. He takes over Will Fuller's role and then some. I mean, we still saw he had a productive day despite Kiki Kuti commanding 9 targets. Like, Kiki Kuti is not going to be demanding 9 targets on any given week. We have to remind ourselves of this. Like, this is going to be Brandon Cook's target share to really like penetrate into, if you will, with Will Fuller being out.
For sure.
So well, let's get into some of these. Love to see I wanted to mention.
Yeah, so this goes into one of the takeaways we have. So Alvin Kamara, for one, he had a bounce back game, right? He gets a touchdown, I don't know, what do you have, 90 total yards on the
90 rushing,
got 3 targets as well. So that's pretty solid usage from Kamara. But even if you're still concerned, Drew Brees is coming back next week. They already came out and said he is expected to play next week's game, which if anyone, I have Alvin Kamara, you have Alvin Kamara. If we all want Drew Brees as the quarterback because Drew Brees is stuck in mud in the pocket. He can't run like Taysom Hill can. So not only will he not be taking goal line carries, I mean, Taysom Hill might have he still has a role on the goal line. Maybe he takes one here and there, but generally speaking, Alvin Kamara is going to get the brunt of the goal line work. And not only that, but especially Alvin Kamara's floor earlier this season was like 8 targets every week. And he was getting upwards of like 12, 13, 14 target games. With Drew Brees as the quarterback, Alvin Kamara, I'm not going to say he's a league winner because he's always been a league winner, but he's going to get back to his like 45-point ceiling that he has on any given week.
Not to mention, with Drew Brees back, Taysom Hill, just this game alone, had 12 carries for 72 yards, I believe was the stat line.
Yeah, like, and that takes away from Murray and Kamara too. Like,
like
just when you're running the ball that much, it takes away from your running backs. Like we saw it with the Ravens when Lamar Jackson was running the ball last year. Mark Ingram should have been a lot better than he was, to be honest, because Mark Ingram was in the best offense in the NFL that scored the most points in the NFL, and he only finishes like RB9 because he only got 200 carries.
Yeah, no, fully. And that actually speaks in. Who do you love more rest of the season, Cooks or Robbie A? Give me Cooks all day, every day. Twice.
I like Robbie Anderson, but I mean DJ Moore is actually on the COVID list now. So and the Panthers put a number of guys on the COVID list, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are probably just going to continue to trade weeks where they're the number one guy on their team. I think we know what they are at this point in the season. We've seen it long enough that it's not a big like surprise to me when DJ Moore has a good week and Robbie Anderson has a down week, and then Robbie Anderson has a good week and DJ Moore has a down week. It's just kind of the way it's going to work with these two. I think you got to continue to roll both of them out there as top 26 type receivers, but neither one of them has a really high floor because the other one could go off. And then plus we have McCaffrey coming back likely this week as well.
Hey, that's going to help me in so many dynasty leagues, as you know well. Actually,
I didn't have him in. I was out a long time ago, so it doesn't really help.
It's actually funny. I'm 9-4 in Scott's toss, despite missing like 3 of my best players for 80% of the season. And now I get McCaffrey back. Like, I'm just excited. I got my bye week. McCaffrey can have his little rush shake off week this week and then get back to it the week after. But
did you see what I need to happen in that league to make the playoffs?
Yeah, you need Diggs, Mostert, and Cooper to outscore
Deontay Johnson by 60 points.
Good luck with that.
So, I mean, I have the right type of guys to do that because we know Raheem Mostert's capable of rushing a 75-yard touchdown. We know Stephon Diggs can put up huge games. We know Amari Cooper can put up huge games. So at least from that perspective, I have the right type of dudes to do it. I just wish I got more out of a couple of my other guys. I also wish that Aaron Jones didn't run a 70-yard touchdown right before because before that happened, I was like, okay, I'm looking good. I still have a chance. I think at the time I was like a 32% chance of winning or something like that. And he was up by like 40 points. And then I needed those 3 guys to outscore Deontay Johnson by 40, which is a lot more feasible, right? And then now they have to outscore him by 60 because Aaron Jones decided to house a freaking 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No trade deadline till Wednesday in my league. I need to trade all my bench players for stars. Who do I trade for? I need RB and wide receiver.
I mean, you can try and pry Derrick Henry from someone, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, like if you can, like even, I'm not even sure. Like I like your team. I guess like, would you do Gallman and Mostert for Henry?
I would absolutely do that. The problem is I don't think the Derrick Henry owner's doing that. In an 8-person league, teams are people who play in 8-person leagues are very aware that stars are how you win. Like having a guy like Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara, or Dalvin Cook or Devontae Adams or Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, like that's how you win 8-man leagues. You don't win 8-man leagues unless you have like 10 flex spots in it by having a deep team. You win 8-man leagues by having stars that can put up 40-point weeks and have a floor of 15 points like Devontae Adams.
Yeah, like honestly, aside from that, like I don't really see major holes. Maybe if you can upgrade your tight end, like
I don't think Gesicki and Rudolph is by any means a surefire lockdown tight end spot.
Like if you can, like the Hawkinson owner, for example, say he needs an extra flex depth. Like if you can give up like heck, even like Higgins and Gesicki for.
I also don't think you need a running back. You said you have Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, Raheem Mostert, and DeAndre Swift. I think you're fine.
You're chilling.
I think you're more than fine at running back. At receiver, you have Ridley, Cooks. So receiver is probably your biggest weak spot, I would say. Even with tight end, you have a weak spot, obviously, but with Brandon Cooks and Calvin Ridley, those are two starters, and you have enough running back depth that you should be flexing a running back every week. So if those are your two starters, I don't hate that. Calvin Ridley and Brandon Cooks, you start those guys the rest of the season.
He mentioned in the second question, he's thinking about trading for Kelce without getting rid of Kamara Eckler. Obviously, so first of all, if you're getting Kelce, you're not giving up either of those two options.
If you can get Kelce for DeAndre Swift and T. Higgins, then I would do it.
For sure. Heck, I would do it even Swift
or for Mostert and Higgins or something like that. Yeah. I would do it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, just follow.
All right, go back up. Spicy hot tacos got so since I have we skipped past.
Oh, did we? Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Who do the Colts? Okay, who do the Colts play?
Well, let me just check. I have Jonathan Taylor. Oh, they play the Steelers in the championship.
I mean, Big Ben's prone to turnovers, man. I actually the way the Colts defense has been playing. They're not at you can't sit them territory, but they're as close as it gets this season as far as a can't sit them defense. So I honestly would just stick with what you have with the Colts defense, because the Browns D, while it's getting the Jets in the championship, is not very good.
Not to mention, the only real defense I would say is a must start any given week, no matter what, is just the Steelers at this point.
I think it's the Steelers, and then the Colts are right there with them as well. Yeah. That's pretty much what you got there. There's no Bears 2 years ago or Jags 3 years ago defense this year, even the Niners last year. I would say the Colts and the Steelers are the two closest things to that, and I would just stick with the Colts defense, because when in doubt, when you're in the playoffs, the fantasy playoffs, you want to trust good players, good teams, good fantasy players. You don't want to be getting too cute, because I think that's getting too cute, to be honest. I know the Colts D is going up against the Steelers in the fantasy championship, but they're a great defense. They've held good offenses to bad showings. They held the Titans to bad showings. They held a couple other teams to bad showings. Just trust the Colts defense. They've gotten you to this point. I would just stick with them.
Okay. And also, just in the chat here, Old Neeb, this is the attention that you were asking for. Can you not spam the chat with 20 separate comments? You can go in a little timeout for that one, buddy.
I don't even know what channel decisions. So me and Danny are Canadian, so our channels might be different than you people in the States. So
I get that. If you had asked once, I would have been okay, you know what? Let me see if I can search it up or something for him.
Yeah.
But spamming it 20 times is just fucking ridiculous.
All right, so let's rip through more of these questions, and then we'll get into a couple. Some of these coincide with our takeaways, so we can just
give me Snell there, Mosh.
Yeah, I will go with Snell there as well.
Started Pittman over Corey Davis.
Oh, you definitely didn't ask us that question, because I would have told you to start Corey Davis.
Yeah, that's 36 points.
Yeah, that hurts. We already went over that stuff.
Oh, okay. My bad. Give me Dobbins there, Blake.
Yeah, I'll take J.K. Dobbins there.
Dobbins for both.
Yep, Dobbins there too.
I was in the middle of typing. Hate me. Yeah, you're chilling.
Yeah, no, that definitely helped me out, considering I told a lot of you guys on Sunday to start Henry Ruggs.
Is Jordan Reed get going or not? If he catches
a touchdown, he's going to do well. That's really all it comes down to.
He's just not someone I want to hedge a bet with. Relax, Los. Look at them.
I'm sending you home like Tyreek doing a backflip on excuses on the Bucs defense. I don't appreciate that comment. Put him on timeout.
Pick 2 Dobbins, Gibson, and Terry.
I'll say Gibson there, to be honest.
Yeah. It's tough, though.
Gibson against the Steelers defense. I actually, in my DFS lineup, I didn't play Gibson. It's not a tournament lineup. It's a double up, just a cash lineup. But I faded Gibson because it's the Steelers defense. Basically, that was the reason for doing it.
Logic.
Yeah,
that's good logic. Is Swift's injury going to affect him going into the playoffs?
I really hope not. I really hope not.
I want to say no, but at the same time, I'm not medically. I'm not a medical professional.
And with concussions, you just never know. The fact that he missed as much time as he already has with a concussion is not good news.
No.
If he had gotten a concussion last week and just missed one extra game, I would have been okay, it's fine. But how many games he missed now? 3?
2 or 3?
Yeah, that's not good. We saw David Johnson already missed a couple of games with a concussion. when you miss a couple games with concussion, it means you still have post-concussion symptoms. It's not like a thing you can just be like, oh, okay, well, he's practicing. That's fine. Like if you're not out of the concussion protocol, you can't play. And you can practice without being out of the protocol. You just wear a red jersey.
Yep. What happened to Brandon Cooks this game? Yeah,
well, he left early and missed a significant portion of this game. So I think he did just fine for the fact that he missed probably a quarter and a half, if not more, of time on the field.
Yeah, for sure. That probably contributed heavily to the fact that Kiki Kuti had like a huge show.
Yeah, it probably did actually.
Brandon Cooks missed a good amount of time. No more 50-point AK. Wait until next week.
Brees comes back, it's still 50-point AK.
Yep. Most are Deontay PPR. This one's close. I'm actually gonna go.
I'll take Mostert.
Yeah,
I lean running back in decisions like that, so I'll go with Mostert.
Yeah. And rip in the chat for Manu. That's tough.
That really sucks. You know, you're going into the playoffs with Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler. You're like, let's go. I got 2 locked in, loaded top 5 running backs this week, and they just both kind of shit the bed like that. I mean, okay, so this segues into a takeaway for us. Can we trust Justin Herbert in the playoffs? Like, he has a great schedule. So he has Atlanta, who's been a better defense, but they're still susceptible to the quarterback position. We saw Taysom Hill take advantage of that. He has Las Vegas and Denver. Are you willing to start Justin Herbert in the playoffs? Because I personally will be starting Tom Brady instead of him in one of my leagues.
Okay, if you have like a pivot like Tom Brady, that's fine. But like
Tom Brady's schedule is like elite.
Anybody outside like the top 8 or 9 quarterbacks, I'm starting Herbert over because we've seen like the upside that he presents. But like anybody in like that top 8, probably the cutoff would be. Let me just check my rankings from last week. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who would be like the cutoff area. Because obviously like the top 7, you got like the Josh Allens, the Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. I would probably say the cutoff would honestly be around Lamar Jackson. Like
Here's one for you. Because can you trust this guy either? So let's say you got both these guys on your roster. I doubt you probably would, but let's say this is the decision you're faced with. Kyler Murray against the Giants next week. Giants just held Russell Wilson to a very bad fantasy day, and they've been good against quarterbacks all season. 29th ranked in fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. Do you start Kyler Murray? Do you start Justin Herbert against the Falcons?
Herbert.
Yeah?
Falcons are that bad against the pass. Yeah.
Okay, so week 15. You start Justin Herbert against Las Vegas, or do you start Kyler Murray against the Eagles?
Herbert.
Also been pretty good against quarterbacks.
Herbert.
Okay, do you start Kyler Murray against the 49ers in championship week, or do you start Justin Herbert against Denver in the
Herbert?
You're really sitting Kyler Murray, huh?
I'm starting Herbert, man. Like we've seen, like obviously, like I would say Kyler's range of outcomes is probably
he's got 3 bad matchups to close the season.
It's probably on the higher scale, and that's good for me because the first place team in my league who actually has the first round bye,
me too,
has Kyler Murray. So I have Lamar Jackson, so we'll see what happens when he comes back. But Kyler Murray, to me, rest of the season, like given like the injury that we've seen.
I don't want to say he's a back-end quarterback one. I think he's still in the top 10 quarterbacks, but he's probably like 9 or 10.
He's like the Lamar Jackson type area, in my opinion. I would probably take him like.
And Lamar has a way better schedule than him too.
Yeah, and I have Lamar, so
yeah.
Yeah, it just sucks that I let go of Cam Akers right before his breakout. That feels bad.
Yeah, really hurts.
My man. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I know.
Speaking of getting vultured at the goal line twice, Bruce Wayne Gallman getting vultured at the goal line twice by Alfred Morris.
Oh, and can we also mention the fact that if anybody like me streamed Mitch Trubisky, that Montgomery scoring twice and Cordell Patterson scoring once absolutely decimated his value?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Sometimes that just happens, man. Like, I thought that was, if Kirk Cousins had a bad game, I thought that could have happened to Kirk Cousins this week where Dalvin Cook just got all the touchdowns. And I was like, oh, man, Kirk Cousins going to disappoint. But thankfully, that didn't happen to him. But, yeah, I mean,
it's rough.
The goal line vultures, man. Like, shit happens. Nick Chubb getting vultured like that, it really sucks. Wayne Gallman getting vultured like that. I had Wayne Gallman. I needed him to put up a big day because I was down from my 1 p.m. slate. And Wayne Gallman has like a 65-yard run and gets tackled inside the 10-yard line, and Alfred Morris catches a touchdown. And then I believe he also had another big run that set up a touchdown drive, and Alfred Morris got that one too. So that's just brutal.
Do I have Wayne Gallman in our listeners league? I think he's the reason why I've been staying afloat because I have Christian McCaffrey in that league.
Yeah, no one's gonna beat me in that league though.
I don't know, man. With Christian McCaffrey back,
do you know what my starting lineup is? This is my starting lineup. I have Justin Herbert as my quarterback. I have Austin Eckler and Jonathan Taylor as my running backs. I have Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Darren Waller, Brandon Cooks, a number of like T. Higgins, Henry Ruggs, a number of other like kind of flex options. I think my team is pretty, like I have no weaknesses on it, to be honest.
I would say the weaknesses I have are just waiting for guys to come back. Obviously, DJ Moore coming back. DJ Chark kind of a bust at this point. I just kind of accept that. And Christian McCaffrey when it comes back.
DJ Chark isn't a bust. He's just a boomer bust play. Like he's never going to be a low floor. Like he has a low floor. That's just how he is.
I'm actually really digging my RB core now that McCaffrey's coming back. I'll have Christian McCaffrey, Wayne Gallman, and Cam Akers. And I think
that's pretty good.
All those are going to be solidified guys. If Moore comes back, I'll have Ridley, Moore, Corey Davis, TJ Hawkinson, Michael Pittman. Like I like my team. It's just the problem is I got to wait for my guys to get back. And I clinched my playoff this spot this week against what's called Jared in the chat.
Yeah.
Daddy Flex God. Unless Deontay Johnson just scores like 70 points.
True. All right. What do we got for Owen here? This is a tough question. I personally would go with Raheem Mostert just because of Swift's health. But if Swift were healthy, like if I knew for a fact that DeAndre Swift is playing next week, who are you taking out of here?
Oh, it totally depends on format for me.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
And half PPR, they're probably back to back, to be honest. But
yeah, they're very close.
It's a full PPR. I'm taking Swift. If it's a standard, obviously I'm taking Mostert. And half PPR though, they're probably right around that 10 to 12 type area.
Yeah, I think it honestly it is going to depend on what Raheem Mostert does today too, because Raheem Mostert was coming off of injury last week, a multi-week injury. We saw it again this week. David Johnson didn't get his full workload with coming off of a multi-week injury, but Myles Gaskin did. And again, we said on the pre-show you were higher on Gaskin than I was, but I said Gaskin, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his full workload because DeAndre Washington, Matt Breida, and Salvin Ahmed were all out. That wasn't the case for David Johnson, who was coming off of a multi-week injury. He basically split snaps 50-50 with Duke Johnson in that game.
Also, you want to hear something that's screwy? During the week, I picked up T.Y. Hilton because I had an extra bench spot, and then I had to drop him because I had to bring Jonathan Taylor off my IR. So I dropped him, and then somebody else picked him up, and I think they put him in their lineup and won the week.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah, he had like 8 for 120 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I guess T.Y. Hilton just like roasts the Texans. Yeah. I guess that's just the thing. He plays them again in week 16, championship week. T.Y. Hilton might win some people some championships.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But let's just mention this too. I mean, Jalen Hurts, Carson's feelings, eh?
Yeah. Oh, dude, Jalen Hurts, man. So both of us were high on Jalen Hurts as far as a quarterback prospect. You comp everyone to Dak Prescott, but you comped Jalen Hurts to Dak Prescott. I said he was more like who did I compare him to?
I think you had like a little bit of Watson in there.
No, that was Burrow that I compared to Watson.
That was Burrow. I think I had Burrow to Romo. I
don't remember who I compared Jalen Hurts to now.
Well, we can check on the draft guide. Little quick plug. Going on the website.
Yeah, either way, Jalen Hurts, he looks like I think I saw a stat on Twitter that said like they have like 4 plays of 20 plus yards in the last like couple weeks, and Jalen Hurts has 3 of them, even though he started half of a football game. So that's hilarious. If I'm Doug Peterson right now, you got to put your fragile quarterback on the bench and let him take his humble pie. You got to let Jalen Hurts keep starting because you are still somehow in a playoff race for your division. So you need to win games. And right now, based on what I saw to Jalen Hurts, he's not a complete quarterback by any means. He's not going to win them the Super Bowl or anything, but he looked better than Carson Wentz. So I would start him.
Yeah, for sure. Here, let's catch up on some questions.
Yeah. So Jorge said, okay, so I said, I don't know if you're new to fantasy. He's played fantasy 9 years, and I'd CEH him at flex, but never saw anything saying that he would be used as for emergency uses only. I probably caused myself a playoff spot. I have the Steelers defense playing.
Let me add in breaking news on Twitter. According to Roto World, Gruden's not confident that Jacobs returns for week 14.
Really? Eh? And I also saw another thing of breaking news saying that Lamar Jackson's officially taken off the COVID list, so he's good to start.
Thank gosh. I have him. The only problem is I had to start Mitch Trubisky because I was scared.
Yeah, I have him in a couple leagues too, and it's just better for J.K. Dobbins if Lamar's there, so I'll take that.
For sure. I saw that literally that's tough, Jorge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Spicy, I like that. You tell old need. That's not acceptable out here.
Facts.
Yeah, keeping the Colts makes sense. I was just scared. Yeah, for sure. It's tough, but Big Ben can turn the ball over. Plus, like we're still talking about primetime Steelers. If there's anything on the line, they're probably gonna like choke it.
When do the Colts play them in week 16?
Yeah.
That's when the Steelers lose.
That's when the Steelers are going to be trying to clinch that number 1 seed, and then the Chiefs are going to.
They might still be undefeated at the time too. I think that's the game they lose. Yeah. If they're still undefeated during that game, I think they lose it.
Yep. Deontay or Mostert PPR.
Mostert.
In a PPR, it's tough.
I know it is really close because of the PPR.
I'll agree.
I will go with Mostert. I believe he is getting the full workload starting tonight.
Yeah. After the yeah, I would have done that regardless, to be honest.
I probably would have been. I know Hunter Henry's like
fuck Hunter Henry.
Huh?
We hate Hunter Henry.
We hate, all my homies hate Hunter Henry, but no. So Hunter Henry is not the sexiest option in the world, but he does get 6 to 7 targets a game. So like that is usually what you look for out of a tight end if you get that kind of volume. But so does Gronk, and Gronk is in a better offense. Probably, I wouldn't say with a better quarterback. I'd say Herbert and Brady are probably playing pretty similar right now. But it's a better offense in Tampa Bay, and Gronk is a main red zone guy, and he doesn't have to compete with like Mike Williams. I guess he has Mike Evans to compete with in the red zone, but. Either way, Gronk's been involved in that offense the whole season. He's a top 5 tight end the rest of the season.
Gronk is also a significantly better player. Mic drop.
Yeah, pretty much.
I hope you're right because I have him in a good amount of leagues.
It'd be a top 10. Low key, dude. How many receiving yards does Corey Davis have right now?
I think he has like 800-900, bro. Like he's been snapping.
Is Corey Davis about to have like an 1,100 yard season?
Dude. We got him in that random dynasty league in like the 15th round.
Yeah. See, okay. So this is a piece of news for you guys, or a piece of advice for you guys. If you're new to dynasty, or if you're getting into a dynasty league this year, maybe you're going to be in our listener league that we're going to open. Dynasty league. The best thing about dynasty is that it's very narrative driven. The dynasty community loves certain players. They hate certain players. They give up on certain players. So a guy like, if Cam Akers pops off the rest of the season, you will not pry Cam Akers from anyone in a trade.
Dude, when Cam Akers was at his low point, people were offering me Cam Akers for Nick Chubb in a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, like a guy like Cam Akers, the dynasty community's loved Cam Akers for years now, since he was a high-rated prospect coming out of high school. So certain guys like that are off the trade list for some reasons, but guys like Corey Davis, who people were high on initially and disappointed them, they go right to the gutter. Like no one wants them. They're trash. A guy like JJ Arcega-Whiteside, if you go into a startup draft this year, you'll get him in the last round, like the very last round.
Yeah.
Like guys like that are lower on by the fantasy community, just like go take a shot on them. They're young receivers. They could have a chance. Maybe the change of scenery for someone like Arcega-Whiteside, or I don't know, who like Anthony Miller, for example. Anthony Miller, what's his value after this year? Nothing.
Like probably like a late 3rd.
I wouldn't even give that up for him.
Yeah. Like that's how bad it's gone to.
Because Darnell Mooney is going to be a darling guy for Dynasty this year, right? So
I'm so happy we got Darnell Mooney too. Also, in Scott's thoughts, apparently I have Colin Johnson. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
How did I end up with Colin? He's got like 70+ yards in the last 2 games. He's actually
I had DP Dallas on my taxi squad this whole year, and I didn't even use him when he was relevant.
That's blessed. Hey, what's up, Ty? Eckler and Keenan Allen are still trustworthy. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So they're still at minimum top 10s at their position. Do we like Marquis?
Yes, I do.
Like Andrews
very much. I think, okay, so in terms of who I would take over Mark Andrews, it's Travis Kelce, it's Darren Waller, it's TJ Hawkinson, and that's the end of the list.
Him or Gronk is kind of close, though.
It is close. I'll give you that. But I think with Mark, I'm pulling it up right now. Andrews,
they're 4-5 in my opinion.
And this is, of course, assuming that Mark Andrews is off the COVID list after this game, because if he does have health complications, he has diabetes, so there's a chance he's out longer. But if Mark Andrews is good to go for week 14, he has Cleveland, who is one of the worst defenses against the tight end position. We just saw McCole Pruitt and Anthony Ferkser both have solid. I think they were both top 12 tight ends on the week. So they just can't cover the tight end to save their life. And then he has Jacksonville week 15. He has New York Giants week 16, who are a pretty good defense, but the tight end position is one of their weaker points in terms of how their defense works, because they have Blake Martinez in coverage. But either way, I think Mark Andrews is probably tight end 4 rest of the season. There's only 3 guys I would take above him. And he's in the same tier as Hawkinson too. I think it's even pretty close between those guys.
I would much prefer Hawkinson personally, just simply because we've seen this guy get 8-9 targets in every single game.
Well, I think Andrews' ceiling on a weekly basis is higher than Hawkinson.
Oh, probably. Yeah. That's fair. Looking at it though, first of all, if you're looking for a streaming tight end during the fantasy football playoffs, just go after whoever plays the Bears, because they're so good on the outside. Speaking of
Bears tight ends, low key, dude, Cole Kmet has outsnapped Jimmy Graham. I tweeted this out a couple of minutes ago. I just want to look this up.
Okay. 123.
Cole Kmet has outsnapped Jimmy Graham 121-58 since their bye week. And usually in bye weeks, teams make adjustments and they'll be like, okay, Jimmy Graham sucks. He's old. He's washed up. Let's get the young kid in there and see what he can do. And that's what they're doing with Cole Kmet. He has outpaced him 56-34 in terms of routes run, and he's out-targeted him 10-5. He's playing like over 70% of the snaps the last couple of games. He's their tight end 1 now. So if you're thinking of starting Jimmy Graham, don't do it. Start Cole Kmet if you're going to start a Bears tight end. Yeah,
for sure. Also, we just got this from Tiago. He says, "Do we love Gibson? We love Gibson around here."
Yeah, in this game, I'm not overly excited about Gibson, but he's still a top 15 running back based on his carry volume and the potential for him getting a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, rest of the season, he should be a low end RB1 in my opinion. This game obviously limits his ceiling because we're playing the Steelers, but we love Gibson around these parts. Give me all the Gibson.
Yeah.
I'll post my whole team another time, but basically, I have Claypool, Gaskin, and Corey Davis that I could flex. Is there someone that beef? I'd say
no. I think it's matchup based.
Yeah, that's actually really good options to have. I personally like.
Here, let me actually just check what their schedules are. You can continue going. I want to see if it's like blatantly obvious that one of them has like such a good schedule that I would just start them every week. Okay, so Chase Claypool's schedule is bad, very bad.
Yeah, very bad. He got the Colts in Week 16 championship weeks.
I'm fairly certain Corey Davis's schedule is very good because I know AJ Brown's quite good. So Corey Davis plays Jacksonville next week and Detroit the week after. So I would probably flex him over Myles Gaskin even. I'm going to check who Myles Gaskin
Depends who Gaskin plays.
Gaskin plays Kansas City next week, which is a good matchup, but it's not as good as Corey Davis against the Jags, in my opinion. And then he plays New England in week 15, which is not as good as Corey Davis against the Lions. But in week 16, when Corey Davis has a tougher matchup, he plays Las Vegas. So Myles Gaskin might be a guy you play in your championship.
For sure. No. There's not someone that's 100%. You got the ear to spot that out. Or we got some Canadian lads out here.
Oh yeah, we're big Canada boys.
Some notable players that are not going to be in the fantasy playoffs in my league are Derek. Wow, what?
Derrick Henry's not going to be in my playoffs either. The guy that has Derrick Henry lost this week. And he needed to win. He was a win and in situation.
Dude. So the first of all, a top 3 running back, the wide receiver 1, another top 5 receiver. I can understand the CMC owner not being in it because he's CMC, he wasn't able to recover. But man, and then the Rodgers. So someone had the Rodgers, Jones, and Adams stack and missed.
Yeah, that's
wow. Okay, Mr.
Yeah, that was a mistake by me. You're right. Yeah, Mike Evans is the red zone option. I'm pretty sure that him and Gronk are actually fairly close in red zone targets, though. It's not as big of a difference as you'd see. I know Mike Evans has so many touchdowns, but yeah, I definitely forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you just didn't skip over that considering you're a Bucs fan.
No, I didn't just skip over that.
I know.
It kind of just skimmed my mind. But Mike Evans actually leads the league in red zone targets. It's 18.
Give me Ayuk there. As crazy as that sounds, give me Ayuk.
Oh, I don't think that's crazy at all. I think it's easily Ayuk.
Yeah. I missed we talked about the Pats, man. Herbert was flustered. Y'all did a number on him. We should have remembered the fact that Bill Belichick can mess up with rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah. So Mike Evans has 18 red zone targets on the season, and Rob Gronkowski has 14.
Yeah.
So it is fairly close.
I think he's fine going up until week 16. I think you said Corey was the tough matchup.
I think I would flex Corey Davis because he's been so consistent. Yeah, he has been very consistent. He does play here. Actually, what was the 16 matchup? He has 2 great ones coming up the next 2 weeks, so definitely be playing him for those weeks.
Houston?
But he plays Green Bay. And that's not a bad matchup either because Jair Alexander is likely going to be on A.J. Brown, not Corey Davis. So he might be able to take advantage of A.J. Brown being kind of game planned against. So yeah, I don't hate the fact that you want to flex Corey Davis the rest of the week, but keep in mind Myles Gaskin has a great matchup in week 16 against the Raiders. So,
and talking about Ridley, as long as Julio Jones is playing, I think Ridley is a fine top 10 type receiver on any.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it so weird that before the season it's always so black and white? If you guys ever hear anyone say if this guy goes down in this offense, then his backup or his thing is going to be automatically a top 5 running back or top 5 receiver or what, top 5 tight end for Dallas Goedert, top 5 quarterback for maybe Jalen Hurts.
In fantasy football.
It's the laziest narrative in fantasy football because anyone who's actually played football anyone who knows how football works and how coaches think knows that when Julio Jones is on the field, he is the primary concern of defenses. And that allows Calvin Ridley to take advantage of not being the primary concern of defense. Because if Calvin Ridley is the only receiver healthy on the field, then he's the primary concern for defenses. Your best corners on him, maybe you're bracketing him or something in coverage. Same goes for guys like on the Bucs. Like Mike Evans is the primary concern for defensive coordinators on the when they play the Buccaneers. That is why Chris Godwin is able to get stuff done over the middle. I think it's a very rare occurrence where if A goes down, B is a top 5 at their position. It's probably only like a handful of players in the NFL that are like that.
Yeah, and even if barely, like we've seen how many
Nick Chubb went down. This was the dream for Kareem Hunt truthers. Nick Chubb went down for a number of games, and Kareem Hunt was not that great.
We'll talk about it. Kareem Hunt. How many people were hyping up Alexander Madison going into the season?
Yeah.
How many people were hyping up? Like we love Chase Edmonds as well. We said maybe he takes over the backfield. We didn't say because of an injury to Drake. We said based off talent. And even Chase Edmonds did not look like the same explosive type player.
Dallas Goedert's been good since Zach Ertz has been out. He hasn't been a top, maybe he's been a top 5 tight end because the position's so bad, but he hasn't been like
Kelce level. He hasn't been like Waller level. Like it's hard to beat like those guys.
He's been a great option. And speaking of that game, Zach Ertz played a limited role in that game. He played only 40% of the snaps. And again, with the multi-week injury thing, I know I talk about this a lot, but it's true. Zach Ertz coming off of a multi-week injury did not play his full allotment of snaps. So I would have a little bit of concern if I have Dallas Goedert for next week because Zach Ertz might be back to his full workload.
For sure. Guys, QQ, should I play Marquis Brown? I need to know your other options.
I would too, but I honestly don't hate it.
I don't either because it's Dallas.
It's Dallas. It is Dallas. And it's Tuesday night football, and weird shit happens on Tuesday night football.
With Trevon Diggs being banged up, obviously he's not expected to play in this game.
Lamar being back.
Anthony Brown is expected out as well. The starting slot corner.
Yep.
This could get ugly, man. I'm telling you right now.
It could get ugly, yeah. I think you guys are going to get ran all over. And
I hope so.
Dobbins and Lamar just run train on the Cowboys.
With the Giants and the football team winning games, and with us losing, I'm glad because it doesn't give any false hope in the locker room that we're going to win the division. No, tank, get that top 3 pick, as good as Wilson, Lance, and Fields are looking, and then you trade down. Yeah, you keep the farm in mid-day 2, second and third round type area. Like it can't be said enough. Just,
I mean, you say it every show, so
I know. It probably can be for tomorrow. The guy, oh wow,
yikes! The rest of his team is. But dude, to be fair, Animal for BDG has Derrick Henry and he's 0-12, so or 0-13 potentially.
Yeah, ugh, man, how?
Yeah, that's brutal.
Gibson and Zeke versus San Fran defense. I got 15-point spot thoughts. So you have Gibson and Zeke. You should be fine.
Yeah, I got 15-point spot. As in you're up 15, or as in you need 15.
Oh, if you need 15.
It's closer if you need 15. Well, obviously it's closer.
I think San Fran's going to get you around like 7-8 points. So if that's the case, you're at a 23-point spot and you have Gibson and Zeke. I think you got it. Like Zeke, you basically need Zeke to score like 8 to 10.
We don't know which side you have in this either, but I think the Gibson and Zeke side should be able to score
15 more than San
Fran's defense, but that it could be close because Gibson could have a stinker because of the Steelers matchup, and Zeke is very prone to stinkers himself. So could be close. Stinks.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, that shit happens sometimes.
He's gonna do the same thing to Tua. Although I'm starting to, good luck. I'm up by 23, and I got Gibson and Debo, but the person I'm facing is Josh Allen and Diggs. Do I win?
I also kind of disagree with that, Tyler, because I think the Dolphins coaching staff is much smarter than the Chargers.
Brian Flores, and Brian Flores knows Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be nearly as confused as Herbert was, because they kind of run a similar defense in Miami. That defense that is Tua's been practicing against. So I don't think he's going to get completely fooled like Herbert.
So assuming this is half PPR. Because I just do that assumption. I think the Allen and Diggs combo probably combined for around, what are we saying here?
40?
30. I was about to say around 40, 35 points.
Yeah.
So then you need 17 from Gibson and Debo combined.
I think you got that. I think Debo can get 17 by himself.
Unless Josh Allen and Diggs combine for like three hookups for touchdown.
Yeah, I think if any of those guys get a touchdown on your team, Gibson or Debo, you probably got it in the bag.
Yeah. Fun question. Who is someone you'll never draft again or just won't next year? Okay. It's hard to say now, obviously, given like we don't know
ADP and all that kind of stuff. I'm never drafting Odell Beckham again.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm never drafting Joe Mixon again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far. If he was a 4th round pick, I would draft him.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying like the reason why is he's always going to be a top 20
I don't think so, dude. He could fall to like the 3rd round next year.
I doubt it, man.
With all these young running backs taking over their backfields and stuff, it could push a good guy like Joe Mixon down. One guy I will never draft again because I wasn't drafting him the past couple of years is Todd Gurley. I'll give you that. I was never drafting Todd Gurley going back. I didn't want to draft Todd Gurley even in 2018 when he was the first overall.
David Johnson, like.
Yeah, yeah, anyone who's old. We're very ageist here. Yeah. We don't like old players.
Fuck them old cats.
Yeah.
Who else? Like realistically. Oh, never drafting early quarterback.
Yeah.
If you drafted Lamar Jackson if you drafted Lamar Jackson this year, you know very well as to why.
Yeah.
Never drafting mid-round tight end.
Mid-round tight end. I was just about to say. Yeah.
If you're not getting like a Kelce like positional advantage in the first few rounds. You're not
the only mid-round tight end I was drafting this year was Darren Waller, and it was because he was falling to like the 6th, 7th, 8th round sometimes.
And that paid off. I mean, the fact is, I
got him in the 7th round of our listener league.
Yeah, I know you sniped him from me.
I know.
I was gonna take him in the 7th, and I'm like, I did the Lucas Strat and waited on like running backs, and I'm like, now I gotta get running backs. It was not good, but hey, I'm in the playoffs, so Christian McCaffrey's back. Hopefully that works. But yeah, although we were saying that all season, like Darren Waller of those mid-round tight ends was going to be our favorite option. Like we had him and Mark Andrews at similar value, whereas like in terms of ADP, there was like a 3 or 4 round discrepancy between them.
I had not at similar value. I had Darren Waller higher than Mark Andrews.
Yep. I
had him tight end 3 coming into the season.
I had them 3-4 back-to-back pending on scoring format.
Yeah.
I was getting to a few more of these. Thank you guys. No problem, Adam. Henry did bad this week. Do you think? I think he's fine, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Henry's going to go off the next couple of games.
If I can squeak this week with a win, hopefully Mixon can. Yeah. I mean, Mixon can definitely do something against Dallas because I could probably do something against Dallas. I wait a little. I Claypool. Do you think he'll get most of the targets? I think Deontay Johnson going to get the most targets on the team.
Yeah, you basically have to hope for big plays with Chase Claypool. Yeah. He's probably not going to lead the team in targets. He gets a lot of manufactured work too, as far as like rushing attempts and stuff like that too. And he's used in the red zone. That's you need a touchdown out of Claypool usually. For sure. And got to ring off a similar line y'all know by now. But as Spicy Hot's saying, I mean, if y'all are watching the stream, you're enjoying the quality content. You know, you say, hey, these Canadian lads know their football. Hit that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm and helps us grow as a channel. And if you're new, as always, hit that subscribe button in your bottom right corner. But with that being said, we'll move on. Ooh, Tyler wants to make a friendly bet. What are you thinking friendly bets here? What's the friendly bet? Yeah, why are you making me one too? I feel left out. It is happy. Okay, yeah, I figured. I think he should be fine, but it'll be close. I mean, I'm assuming he wants to make the friendly bet based on the Patriots versus the Dolphins. That makes sense. I don't know what the bet's going to be as far as that goes. Hopefully Gibson can pop off. I love that cat. He's a baller. Oh, okay. So J Peach, you said you've watched every game for Gibson. I'm assuming that means you're a Washington fan or you own him in a lot of places, so that's why you're watching every game. If you guys are fans of teams, I understand and I realize this, and other fantasy analysts won't say this, that a lot of the time the diehard fans of certain teams know more than I do about their teams. Yeah. So if you have any information that you can give me in the comment section, go ahead and do that. In a start sit video, if I say something that is wrong or doesn't make sense to you because you follow the team closer than I do, feel free to correct me. It helps me give you guys better advice, and it also helps other people who are listening because I'm giving them better advice. So if you are a fan of a team and you follow them closely, let's try and make a little network of like beat reporters for the Fantasy Stock Exchange, if that makes any sense. For sure. For me, it's OBJ or Marquis Brown. Yeah, screw those guys. Not waiting for a kicker. I'm taking Koo in the 6th. Yeah, big flex, you know? Yeah, Young Lakers kicker 1 by a mile right now, isn't he? Oh, he says, okay, so I have an open flex. It's either Marquis Brown or someone on the free agency. I personally... I'd rather start Marquis Brown or all those guys. I'd go CD. Depending format, actually. Like,
if it's
I wouldn't. The Ravens are stingy against opposing wide receivers, and it'll likely be Marlon Humphrey in the slot.
Potentially, but
so I would start Marquise Brown, especially if you need kind of like a ceiling. I don't want to wear a dress. He says he's probably trying not to finish in last, I'm guessing.
Oh, I mean, if you need an upside play, I think Marquise is more upside, but I think CD.
Kudos to you for being tuned in to fantasy this point in the season. If you're almost in last place, though.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, it all depends. You need a ceiling or a floor play there. That's going to indicate the decision for me. I hate the Eagles. I don't understand what. Yeah, screw the Eagles. They don't know what to do with anything. Sorry, I did not hear about Henry this week. Yeah, he had a rough game. I mean, I think he'll be fine.
I'm not worried about Derrick.
There's also game script. They went down 41 to fucking 10.
Yeah, they were getting kind of killed in that game. Yeah. So, and it was very early that they went up to. It was probably what was it 21-7 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Baker threw 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. He has Hill and Henry and won't make the play.
And he went 3-10.
That's crazy.
That guy sucks. He should not be a fantasy manager.
Oh, that's a different person to be fair. Spicy Hot was the guy that went 3. Yeah, guy that went 3-10. I got you as well. I'm just saying. Oh, okay, bet. I'm not gonna say I'll hold them to 0, but I'll take no more than 1 touchdown. We can start up a big list like you guys do. And Danny, you tell. Yeah, bet. We'll talk about it in the group chat.
Tyler, you said why is CD a free agent? I dropped him last week. That's why.
Screw you.
He's not that great, man. CD is the offense bad. That's why he's a free agent.
Hey, he'll be good. Don't worry. The guy's still a stud. He's a stud player. I'm not a Washington fan, Texan fan here, but yeah, I've had my eye on Gibson since he was drafted. Dude is pure talent, in my opinion, on my fantasy team too. Remember when he did our preseason predictions? Oh yeah, he said he'd be a top 3 running back.
Yeah, I in our bold predictions video before the season, I made a bold prediction that he would be the best or the most owned fantasy player on championship rosters. So yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I loved him coming out.
Yeah, I screwed up with saying that Clyde Helaire was going to have the most touchdowns by a rookie running back of all time.
Yikes.
I think I said something stupid like that. Anyways, yeah, rough. I did that, and then the DJ Moore one. I mean, he got hurt, but Robbie Anderson fucked that one up to start with. If Robbie Anderson wasn't as big of a factor as he would have been, that one could have actually been a decent show because DJ Moore was top 7 or so in receiving yards with Robbie Anderson commanding 9 targets a game.
Facts.
Crazy. But any takeaways we have to mention quick, or we can quickly?
No, we can skip some of these. So one of the ones I wrote down was that Todd Gurley is not nearly the amount of fantasy asset he was when his rushing schedule was really good.
Yeah,
he's just completely dependent on his rushing schedule and touchdowns. He got 10 touches last week, and it was basically a 3-way committee between his backfield. So, I mean, I hope you traded him when I told you to, because in week 9 I made a trade targets video and I said get Todd Gurley the hell off your team.
Yeah. Wow,
he's got his entire team left to play.
Yeah, you should be fine, brother. Unless everybody on your team puts up a stinker, you got some studs there.
Yeah, you got some Ben should put up 15 to 20-ish. Mostert should put up 15 to 20-ish. Dobbins should put up 15 to 20-ish. Deontay should put up 10 to 15 minimum. Debo 10 to 15. Ebron 10. He should be good.
Yeah, for sure. I said he would. Oh, yeah. Hopefully. I mostly wanted to hear Danny when I mentioned that. Why is CD a free agent? Oh, yeah, I know, eh? These people out here dropping CD. These people out here dropping CD fucking lamb need to take it easy,
Yeah.
Awesome subscribe. Appreciate that, Adam. Nice seeing you in the chat. Anyone know where I can watch the game? I
think it's on ESPN. I have no idea.
I believe so.
Like I said, we're Canadian, so our channels are all different than you guys in the States. So I have no idea what network it's on.
I could check on the score. Also, if you guys can try to get Daz in too, it's pretty cool.
I mean, they have Game Pass, but
true. Oh yeah, that's fair. So it's on Fox, TSN1, and TSN4. So that would be ESPN1 and ESPN4.
Yeah.
But you can watch it on Fox mostly, it says here.
Yeah, okay.
Dan, forgot about the 5 p.m. game. Missed the live stream. Sad face. Sorry, guys. All good, Jared. Nice seeing you at least in for the final moments. I want in on the Chat Fantasy League, please.
Depending on how much demand we have for it, J Peach, we might have to hold a contest or something to get people in it. But if there's 12 people that want in it and no one else, then you're 100% in for sure. Maybe we'll do something relating to our draft guide to get an entry or a chance to enter or something like that. That's probably what we'll end up doing. It'll all kind of depend on how many draft guides we sell, how many people are interested in the league, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Fox for me. Yeah, Robert knows. Any thoughts with Kyler's remaining schedule? Yeah, it's gonna be going from like the quarterback one.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Ruben. If you want to skip back, it was probably around the 15, 20 minute mark of this. Yeah. But basically what we said was Kyler Murray might drop to kind of like a low end quarterback 1-ish territory because with his shoulder injury, I don't know how much it's affecting him now, but it is a concern still. And his schedule is not great the rest of the season. So, and not only that, but he's not running the ball nearly as much as he was earlier in the season.
Yeah, for sure. You down for this, Butch? Pats hold 2 to 1 touchdown or less.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Wow, nice. I want to be in too. Yeah, for sure. As Bush mentioned, we'll definitely figure something out for you guys, depending on the overall demand on the offseason. And then like you guys, yeah, I'm down. Just again, message us anytime. J Peach, Talking Sports. Does anyone know what website I can watch the Steelers game on? Okay, so if you actually, there are a couple websites that I use.
Ben trying to take the top off the defense of the first play. James Washington almost caught one.
Try Crack Streams. Crack Streams or
I know Buff Streams is what I used to use before I had the zone.
Yeah, I think Crack Streams still working. Let me check for you. Crack Streams. Yeah, Crack Streams should be having the Redskins Steelers game. It says here, or football team Steelers game. So
yeah, are they gonna have a new name after the season?
Do
you think they pick it after the season? Probably, right?
They should. Like,
if they pick a new quarterback or something, like you can't just be like, oh, the Washington football team selects. Like, nah, you gotta have your name by then.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna do what I can to get in the league with y'all. Yeah, for sure. Spicy Haw. Hopefully we can get that happening. Big OG right here. Next guy's gonna make sure to be early next time. All good, Ruben. Appreciate having you in here.
Kind of gave as a rule of thumb, it's usually an hour before the game starts. Whatever time the game starts, that's usually we're gonna be an hour before it.
Thoughts on Johnson, the Jets running back? Well, I want to see how long LaMichael Pirine is expected out as well, and also what Frank Gore's injury deal is before I even make a claim for him. Sure. I was one of the people that started Frank Gore in their lineup, so that was hard to see. When
number one waiver ad by far on this week is Cam Akers if he's out there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He might not be out there.
You're spending your whole fab on Cam Akers.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dropping every last dime.
Yeah. Man, he was the number one last week too. I had him on the show, and I just wish I didn't.
Take your own advice.
Yeah, I dropped them because I needed a defensive stream because I didn't know the Steelers. Fuck, man. I could use that now. Also, I secured the 6 seed in my home league. Basically, went through a bunch of injuries this year. Was happy to clutch the playoff spot. So in the first round, I'm facing the 3 seed in a championship game rematch from last year. So I beat him in the championship last year. Now we play first round in our league's playoffs. So it should be fun. Hopefully Alvin Kamara can have actually Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas can have Drew Brees back because I have both those studs on my team. True.
All right. Well, we should probably head out of here. We'll just run through these last couple questions. And we'll head out on
great,
now.
Thanks. Oh yeah. yeah. We can't get that shut down. I'll try to shut up a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
I think they're keeping the name for Washington team for one more year.
That's weird. I mean, how long does it take to pick a name? Like, pick a name and then market it and get it on the jerseys. It really doesn't take that long.
The Washington football team selects.
Who's buying Washington football team jerseys right now? Please tell me that. If you're a Washington fan, are you buying a Terry McLaurin jersey or an Antonio Gibson jersey right now? No, you're going to wait until they have a team name.
The Washington football team selects Zach Wilson, quarterback.
BYU. It's going to be Trey Lance, man.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, take
we'll
it easy.
Head out of here.
We'll head out. We'll see you guys Thursday. Whatever you guys